Morning everybody, June 27th, beautiful day out. We got a little rain overnight and this morning. I did go out this morning and top dress the corn with some fertilizer. I don't know, some of it got rained on, some of it hasn't yet, but they're talking some more rain tonight and tomorrow, kind of scattered out, so I'm hoping we get a little more. Corn is actually looking really good though. So anyway, I'm gonna go see if I can finish getting that chopper back together. I think we had mentioned in the last video that I think I don't think I picked anything up and damaged it. I think a knife or the cutter bar came loose, and I think that it just hit and damaged, as closest I can tell, because I couldn't find anything. But anyway, and then Paul, my brother Paul, his boss, is going to come over. If you've been watching for a while, we've got a little patch of corn kind of doing a test plot on. It's not the land we reclaimed, it's a different piece. He's got I guess maybe I can get him to explain it a little better, but like a soil, it's not a fertilizer, but it's like a different bacterias and stuff you can add to the soil. Supposed to help plant growth and stuff. So we've got some corn, and then he wants to try it on one of the hay fields too. So I think he's going to stop by today. We'll try to get some video of that and see how that stuff turns out. And I do want to run down that corn that we did on the reclaimed ground. I haven't been down there really yet. My dad was down there yesterday. He said it's coming up. It is pretty spotty. I did not top dress that with fertilizer, just because I didn't. If there's not that great there, I'm just going to green chop that anyway. And it did get manure, so. But I do need to get it sprayed yet. But I need to run down there. Maybe we'll get some video of that later. But anyway, on the chopper here, like I said, I got the cutter bar flipped around and got that back in there. I just got to get that tightened down, and then I got to go through and set all the knives to the right distance and get them torqued down and get it set to the cutter bar and get it sharpened. We've got those peas and oats. We did get them finished up yesterday. Paul got them. We wrapped them last night. We just baled them up. But I've got one field, about 10 acres of some older, it's decent hay. It's just grass, a little bit of alfalfa. I think we're going to chop that off and finish off that bag. I suppose we've got about half a bag there, probably, of peas and oats. So that way we can try the chopper out again, make sure that's working, and top off that bag, because there's not going to be enough bag left to cut off of there and mess around with doing another small bag. I might as well finish it off. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna do now. Okay, we got my brother Paul's boss Jason here.
Hi guys.
He's the one doing now.
It's a herbal.
I'll let you explain it.
It's a natural tea. We're brewing tea. It's bacterial based to help growth and nutrient consumption with your plants and vegetables. And we're going to be spraying it, broadcasting it, probably about 100 to 200 gallons per acre, and it takes about 12 to 24 hours to brew. And I got a homemade contraption I made for spraying for under about $2,200.
So, and then this is, like I said, we're not doing, I've shown before, but that field up there, I got 4 rows of corn around the perimeter. I think that whole piece is about an acre. And those 4 rows didn't get any starter fertilizer or anything, and the center of the field did. You can see the difference once we get up there. And then I think we're also going to try some on the hay field as well, just to kind of see how it works on both. And we can kind of show what he's got here for applying it.
Simple setup. We got a couple boomless spray nozzles, way to be able to put some pressure to them. You got your bypass line, so you're constantly circulating. We use aerobic bacteria, not anaerobic. We like to have the positive of the two. So you usually always keep a steady flow of water going to keep the air in it. I do carry my generator so we can fill the tank out of a water source with a pump. I got this $185 1580 gallon an hour pump is just adequate to be able to spray. Once we're on the field, I'll show you how that operates. It's pretty simple. I built the whole thing. Paid 200 bucks used for the tank. I just under $200 for the pump, and I got about another $800 and all of my setup. It's not too bad. You can usually get it cheaper depending on where you buy it from. Unfortunately, we live in Minnesota, so we have high taxes on everything. But we'll show you more about how she sprays once we're out there.
Yeah, and then these fields, well, this cornfield that we're going on, that hasn't had manure. It's so far away, it hasn't had manure in years. And all it had, I think I hauled one load back there probably 15 years ago. So, and then this, like I said, it'll basically just to kind of wake the soil up. Isn't that kind of the...
Yep. You're just putting the bacteria back in there, and it helps reinvigorate some of the nutrients in the ground. And,
Sure.
And it will help also add some to it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go up there and try it out. Give it a test run.
Let's do it.
We're up here at this test field now. Now this stuff in the middle here, this is the corn that got starter fertilizer. And I actually did come through this morning and I top dressed this with some urea and AMS. But I just went one pass right down the middle. That's about a 50-foot spread. So his rounds are around the outside edge. So they shouldn't have, if they got any of it, it would be very little. And they didn't get any starter fertilizer. This here did, but these ones over here didn't. So, and I mean, you can see there definitely quite a difference. Now, I would imagine ideally this should go on either before you plant or soon after.
Ideally, we like to do a pre-saturation before you plant, and
Okay.
then you can actually use this as a feed 2-3 times a year, especially in climates where you don't get a lot of irrigation, where you don't get a lot of rainfall.
Sure.
We do have it on some of our test farms or our test more smaller gardens and stuff. We get really good results off of doing it 3-4 times.
Sure, okay.
You know, before you get to the flowering stages and stuff like that of your planting. Yeah, there's different ways you can use it and applicate it.
Sure.
The pre-soak, the pre-saturation, and then about a week after you plant is usually the best method.
Okay. Yeah, that was our original plan, but we got a little, you weren't quite ready to set up, and I was planting, so.
And we had some drought coming through.
Yeah.
What just wasn't a really good start, but
yep.
We're hoping we can show what kind of progress you can get through this.
And now that we're set up, if it's something we want to try again next year, it'll be one of them where you can get out here, hit it and plant, and then, but it'll definitely still going to be nice to, I mean, obviously, like I said, you can see the difference that what got starter and what didn't. So, and this all did get sprayed with Haylage GT, which is glyphosate, and then it's 2 other chemicals that have residual weed control. So everything got sprayed with that. So we can see how, and you did take soil samples up here to kind of check and see any effects of that or how it changes,
or what we're leaving in the ground when we're done.
Sure. Yep. Okay. All right, well, we'll let you get mixing here and try her out.
When we're spraying, you use pressure, so we use different nozzles for being able to spray it after a whole spray. We'll turn our nozzles on and get a 22-foot swath. We can up the pressure if we want to get an even bigger swath of it.
Oh, okay.
Same thing with our full one for the hayfield we'll be running. It's a full spray pattern, bootless nozzle. That'll spray 30 feet.
Oh, okay. Like kind of the key, what you're looking for here then is a good saturation.
Yeah.
Or like my weed sprayer, crop sprayer, that's just going to put out a mist.
Yep. And that was half the problem I run into, is trying to get the right saturation. Because if you're just misting, it'd take you all day to spray an acre.
Yeah, sure.
With this, I can run 26 to 30 gallons a minute. I can empty this tank in about 15 minutes with saturation. As opposed to, it took me 25 minutes to go through 50 gallons on the first unit I built.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the issue we were running into.
So like my crop sprayer there now, you know, I've got that set for 15. I can do 20 gallons an acre. I mean, I could up it changing stuff around, but and I don't know what you're at here, but it must be considerably more.
Yeah. I mean, we're pushing a max out of this of about 26.3 to 28 gallons per minute.
Sure, okay.
So you can really lay it on as thick as you want.
Yeah.
And especially when we've had more of a drought year in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to get any water you can out there, let alone something with a nutritional value.
Yeah, exactly. And then this field here, we're kind of hitting this top side is real sandy, high, dry. And then I just planted, it comes all the way around the bottom side, and down there, it's actually, well, it's probably on the dry side now just because we haven't had rain, but more heavier ground, usually wetter down there, so kind of see how it works on a couple different soil types, so that'll be nice.
Right.
Yeah, this is the bottom side down here. Like I said, it's pretty dry now. I mean, there's been years where I'm making dust at the top and I got the tractor buried down here, but it's not, like I said, we haven't had much rain, so. And around the back side, it's planted around the back too, but the these rows kind of run into that, so you can just drive over. Don't worry about that, because it'll get drove down anyway when I harvest it. But
right.
And you can tell even down here, you know, this didn't get the starter fertilizer either, but being wetter ground, the corn looks better down here than it does up on that hill. That moisture makes a heck of a difference. Even where it was pretty heavy weed stressed on the, it's a lot better. And we can walk all the way around. But I actually, any of the corn, I mean, this stuff here, for as dry as it's been, I can't believe how well any of it's doing. I know there's some places that, I mean, their crop just burnt right up.
Yeah, I mean, even this is coming up okay for having virtually no rain.
Yeah, and no feed basically, other than what's in the ground, you know. It.
Well, hopefully what we're gonna hope for is to see it catch up with the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll actually be a really nice test, being it is, you're coming into it later and hitting it. If it will catch up to the other corn, you know, that'll really,
that's a good telltale sign of how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be driving right over these.
Yeah, you can just come around this end here. That's not a big deal.
Oh yeah. That's a perfect way to test it. And that's right on the outside of it. You can tell this gets whatever runoff of moisture there is.
Yep.
Oh, good deal. This would be a really good spot to test. I'm going to probably hit about a dozen rows, the width of a truck, but I think we're going to have pretty good turnout on the outside here. That should make up for anything I trample there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, that little bit around the end, usually, when you're chopping, it usually gets run over anyway, so.
Yeah, still coming up really nice in the center there.
Yeah. But yeah, you look even here where it dips. This corn is pretty nice, you know, but it got some moisture. It's a little bit lower. I could even tell on the big field there, places that the weeds had stressed heavier, was a lot worse. You know, just the plants look good now, but they're short, you know.
Still having to come in.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll let that mix up a little more and do some saturate. right, well, we'll let him kind of work his way around there, and we'll see how it's going. It looks like it's saturating pretty good, so let him. It's going to take him a little bit to get around there, so we'll come back when he makes it around. All right, well, he's making another. He's going to make one more round. One round did about half of his tank, so he's going to make another round and empty that out on this corn. Seems like it's working pretty good. And I'm not sure, he wanted to do some on the hayfield too. The hayfield that he was going to do, like I said, we haven't cut the hay off of that yet. That should be coming up here in the next couple days. So I don't know if he wants to wait, or else I've got another field he could try it on as well. But I'm going to head back home now and get back to working on that chopper. It's just on my way back. I thought as long as we're going, I might as well check some of the other corn up here. Looking good. I can't believe, for as dry as we were, how this corn has really pulled out of it. There's a couple spots here. This field's not too bad, but I had sheared a pin on the fertilizer boxes on the planter on one side, and I didn't notice it. Once I got into this field, I had noticed it, so I got it fixed. But that other field in the back has a couple spots that are a little poorer, but I can't complain at all about this corn. There's a lot of this that's probably over knee high already. So we'll go to the big field and check that out. This is that big field, never mind the rocks. This end up here is always a little drier here, so this stuff's a little shorter, but we'll go down. I left a couple of trails down the field, so when I split the field chopping, I don't have to run the corn down. Got a really good kill with that herbicide too. There's really nothing left out here. It's up over the four-wheeler tire. Definitely tell though when you get a patch where the weed pressure was heavier, or up on the hill a little bit where it got dry. I mean, there's corn there, but it's almost like it's just coming up. But I'm not going to complain about that, because there's a lot of people, I really feel bad, a lot of people had corn that was doing really well and it just burnt right up. Or hail. Hail's another one that really damages. So we're very blessed with this corn. I can't believe it. That's just amazing. Like I said, it's dry. We're as dry as I've seen here in a long time. There's holes here that normally haven't seen the bottom ground in holes in probably 15 years that I've driven tractor right through. So they have the corn looking like this. If we can keep getting the rain like we have been now, shot here and there to keep it going, it'll be definitely nice. I wanted to show something else here too. I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, but this road here, when I sprayed this last year, I used the same herbicide. And this I sprayed in I think it was either the day before or the morning of, and it was hot. The corn was pretty drought stressed again. And I sprayed this, I think it was the day before. And then I sprayed this half, whatever it was later anyway, and it got some rain on it. Actually, it rained as I was spraying. Now, I'm not sure on the Haylage GT. I know glyphosate, they say it should have an hour before rain, at least. This did, like I said, this got sprayed when I was raining, but this side killed way better. You can almost see, well, not up here so much, but when I was spraying, there was a line about on this road. That side, the crabgrass came back this year like a carpet. And this side, there wasn't any. I mean, it was just gone. Like it never even grew. So the spray that got the rain on it last year had residual control, seemed like, into this year yet. Not that I didn't have a good kill with it last year on the whole field, but it seems like that that little rain must have worked it in better. But you can also tell the difference in the corn, because we're right on this same hill here. This is a little more pale, a little shorter. You come over here, this is more dark green. It just didn't have the weed stress early on. So that's something kind of neat to see. But anyway, we'll head back now. Now if we can just keep the bears out of it, that'll be the next thing. I'm hoping these little roads that I put in here, my grandpa did that years ago. He left a couple roads so he didn't have to run the corn down, splitting the field. That's one thing I hate doing. But he had a lot of trouble with weeds growing back in those spots, so he quit doing it. But I'm hoping with the better herbicides they have now, they'll maybe stay open a little bit better, because this is kind of nice to have the field opened up like this. So you can drive through without having to run a bunch down. I'd come down here and look at this corn on this reclaimed ground. This was that conventional seed. It was old seed. I think it was like 2012 seed that I had in the garage, so I thought I'd see what it was doing down here. Pretty sparse. Places it's not too bad, but the plants that came up look nice, but not much came up. But that's all right. We'll leave it down here, and I should probably come down here and spray it, or I could even cultivate it, I suppose. Weeds aren't too bad, but if nothing else, it should bring in some deer for hunting. But you look at here, here's one that must have just came up. So yeah, that seed definitely wasn't real good anymore, but we'll get something out of here. Do a little green chopping anyway for the cows. I'm almost thinking the spray that I've got that I was going to use down here has a really long residual kill on it. So I was thinking maybe this fall I'd put some rye down here, but I wouldn't be able to do that if I used that spray. But I'll see what I come up with. I could maybe cultivate this little piece. But anyway, that's what it looks like. Like I said, not much, but at least we got the field opened up anyway and got something down here. So all right, I'm gonna head back up to the yard.
Looks like the repairs worked. that corn in that real gravelly spot. Looks pretty good.
Well, we got that load in there. I just chopped that one. I wanted to try the chopper out, make sure that was all working, and then I wanted to get some added into this bag because we didn't get any in there yesterday. So no, chopper worked good. This stuff was cut a little bit long, but I don't think that's from the chopper. I think that's more because these windrows were pretty thin. So once we get, I know I had a lot of comments when we were doing the peas and oats why I didn't rake them together, make a bigger windrow. The field by home, there were places where there was a lot of weeds. It would have made too heavy of a windrow because I plugged the head a couple times with just a single one. And that other field, I didn't really have anybody extra to run the rake. It was getting dry. I wanted to get it chopped, and then I didn't like raking without sod because I didn't want to kick up any rocks or anything. So, but this field is older sod and stuff, so once we get ready to roll, I just cut these three and chopped them off quick because there's supposed to be a storm coming, but I don't know, it kind of went south of us. But I just wanted to get this chopper tested and get some in the bag, so we will be raking those together, get a better windrow. I think it'll chop finer. But other than that, it worked good. Now what I'm going to do, since I've ran a load through here, I'm going to go through and check the torque on all those knife bolts again and the cutter bar. Just make sure. The book I've got's got all the torque specs in it, so that's what I set them at. But so yeah, no, it worked good. I'm thinking that the damage that happened there was not from anything I picked up. I think the cutter bar somehow came loose and moved. Possibly a knife came loose and moved. I don't know, but to do that kind of damage to those knives and not have any... The cross auger was basically clean in the back. There was a couple little pieces of knife, and that kind of damage, I don't know of any kind of a rock that would cause that much damage to those knives and not have anything left. So something had to have moved out of place and just hit. So anyway, what we did, I had that 782, the knives were decent in there, so we just swapped all the knives out, all 12. I did take the baffles out because the bolts from the 782 were shorter because that didn't have the baffles, but it seemed to work fine. So that worked all right. And yeah, and like I said, the bolts from the longer ones with the baffles, some of those bolts were bent from whatever hit, so I didn't want to use them again. But so that's the plan now. I'm going to go through, check the torque on all this stuff again, and go from there. I know, like this cutter bar, you know, there's nothing that really locks that in place. I mean, you've got a cam type system here to adjust it, and then you've got this hold down that's torqued at 66 pounds. But that's so you know, to adjust it, you just go ahead and turn it each side and pull it in. It doesn't have to be loosened like my Gale that I had. That one had like lock nuts. You had to loosen them, adjust it, and then tighten them back up. So I don't know if something here wasn't torqued right and it moved or what. But anyway, it seemed to be working now, so we'll keep on going.
Good.
And then you gotta do the same thing on the other side.
I know. Can you get it off? These are kind of hard. Alright, moving to the other side. Keep going.
I didn't have actually.
No, I want to get away from.
I did earlier, but it was wetter, I think, too.
Oh,
there was
yeah.
still some dew on it.
There's a lot of crap.
And the no clogs.
No clogs. Go through that. So I left a lot of food
What do you
crap out
say?
there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of crap. That's all of them. Go.
She's like, ooh, grass.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trinity Dairy. It's, what is today? Tuesday, the June 29th. It's pretty nice. We got a nice rain. We got a heavy rain this morning. That was kind of spotty depending on where it hit. And then we got a couple of lighter shots this afternoon. But anyway, now we're up here. We're going to try to finish off this hay field, get that in the bag, and get that bag finished off. My brother Paul, he just got it cut. He's out here raking, putting 2 windrows together now with the bar rake. So I'll get a little video of that, and then we'll get it chopped. He's just raking one over onto the other, because his pickup is wide enough I can get him. He doesn't have to rake each windrow twice, so that kind of works out good. Those old bar rakes are nice, relaxing sound. At least to me, anyway. Chopper, get the chopper fired up, and see if we can finish this up. This stuff here is not, it's kind of just some old grass hay. There's a little alfalfa in here, not too much, but some dead grass, because we never did take the second crop off of here last year. There wasn't enough here to bother with. But I'm basically just trying to fill up that bag so we don't have just a little chunk of bag left. But it'll make all right feed. It's not, like I said, it's not too old yet, so it is what it is. Get this done and move on to the next patch. I got some ground left. Some of that land I farm with the other guy, we got a few acres there to finish up yet. And then I got my grandpa's hay. I'm gonna get that baled up for him, and we should be done for a little while. The second crop's actually looking pretty decent. If we can keep getting some rain on it. It's not ready yet though, so I got to get that, hoping to square bale that if I can. So I got to get that square baler in and get that fixed up too. But it's all on the list. Got the last loads in off of that field. I still got a few flaps of bag left. I figured there would have been more off of there, but I'm going to talk to my grandpa tomorrow and see if I can buy, he's got his hay left yet, so I'm going to see if I can buy a few loads from him to finish this out. If not, I guess we'll just take it off the end. I hate to waste that much plastic, but that's about all I got left. With that chopper acting up and not getting all the oats, that kept us a couple loads short and stuff. So, but anyway, it's going pretty good now. The chopper's working good, so hopefully that keeps up. But anyway, I'm going to find out on that tomorrow, and if we can, we'll just cut right in front of the chopper and run it in so we just get what we need. So anyway, I'll keep you up to date on that. We'll see what happens tomorrow.